This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution, and today I am joined by none other than Eric Christianson, who is joining us from Reno, Nevada, and from Nutrient Survival. How are you today, sir?
Jamie, I'm great. It's good to be talking with you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Excellent. Now, the very first question I'm going to ask you is, how have you seen the demographic of people purchasing survival food change over the last 12 months?
Well, that's a great question. I think in short, everybody has become a little bit of a prepper, and there's this very funny thing that probably not so funny, but somebody said, we're all on that cruise ship together now. And remember back when
Oh, yeah.
COVID was first starting out, and everyone was like, well, I hope they keep it over there. And soon enough, it was everywhere. And the folks that had taken some precautions and were ready, felt really good about themselves because they knew something was going to happen, whether it was COVID or an eventuality like an emergency of some sort.
Yeah.
But they felt good about it. But everybody, I think, has had a bit of an awakening that they need to be prepared. They need to be thinking about having a long-term food supply on hand to get their family through these situations. No, so I think that the demographic has shifted dramatically and opened up to pretty much everybody.
I think the emergency preparedness mindset has become a lot more mainstream now, and it's not really just conspiracy theorists who are burying containers as bunkers out in the countryside. It's really changed.
No, you're right. I think everybody has, again, figured out that they need to have something on hand that they can dip into to get them through whatever eventuality, be it a short-term disruption where the power is out for a couple of days, or a blizzard, or a hurricane, or forest fire, or civil unrest. With all the stuff going on here
Yeah.
on our planet and our different areas, and then the pandemic certainly was one that affected everybody. So yes, everybody's got a little bit more of a awareness and realize they need to have a little bit more on hand than they typically would have.
Now, you are now CEO of Nutrient Survival. However, you do have quite a fascinating backstory. I'd love if you could give us a kind of concise version of what you did after school.
Yeah, well, what I did after school. So I went to West Point. It's the military academy down here in the States, and I went in the Army for about 7 years, and I did a
Mhm.
lot of high speed, low drag stuff in the jungles of Panama and
Oh, yes,
in
yeah.
the deserts of Oklahoma and whatnot. And after about 7 years, I graduated out of that, so to speak, and I went to corporate America and went to work at Procter Gamble on their food and beverage portfolio at the time. And I worked on Folgers coffee and Jif peanut butter. And then I moved off of that after a while to a different company, and then wound up back in food marketing, consumer product good food marketing at Campbell Soup Company. I was there for about a dozen years working on canned soup and other foods like Pace picante sauce and Prego pasta sauce and V8 vegetable juice. And then after about a dozen years there, went to Perdue Chicken, big chicken supplier here in the States, the biggest fresh chicken
Yeah.
producer, vertically integrated, and was the CMO, the chief marketing officer there for about 6 years. And then, I found this opportunity. The guy that was running this place, or not running it, but investing behind this place, was looking for somebody with a unique background, and I kind of fit the bill. Somebody that knew about food marketing and packaged goods, as well as that had sort of a little bit of a mindset that he was looking for. And being in the Army and Ranger and Airborne and all that stuff, eating plenty of MREs, I was
Yeah.
kind of the guy for the opportunity. So it's been great. I've been here since June, and we're kicking the door down.
So I have two questions for you. How was that transition from the army into big food marketing, and what drew you towards that?
Well, I think it was completely dumb luck. I had no idea what I was doing. But Procter and Gamble, they really like military people because Procter is a large company, and they're very structured and somewhat of a hierarchy similar to the military. So military people
Right.
do very well at Procter in that sort of environment. And it all I knew at the time was that Procter was a great company. And so it was one of those things you look back on and you wouldn't have been able to call it that way, but that's how it happened. And when I learned consumer marketing, I fell in love with it because it's all about figuring out what people want and need, and then making stuff that appeals to them, and then telling them about it and getting them to consider you and hopefully buy you.
I guess my follow-up question is, how the hell do you go from corporate food marketing to a small, ambitious startup like Nutrient Survival?
Well, that's another great question. You got a lot of great questions, but as I looked at the next choice in my life, and I've been in business, traditional big company business for about 25 years. And I just, honestly, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to, go off and be a staff guy or be a, big company guy again. I want to try something different. And I don't want to leave this world with regrets by not having tried a startup. And what's great here, it's, so much of what we're doing in the brand and what the brand is about, I get to put my personal stamp on. And for all intents and purposes, the brand is becoming me and I'm becoming the brand. And it's been a lot of fun, really building that out and having the support of my, investment group.
Having dabbled in emergency preparedness for the best part of 20 years now, I have tasted quite a few survival foods over the years. And
Yeah.
I have to say that I've never really enjoyed them. They're just like bags of carbs, bags of sugar, sometimes bags of salt. And they've really tasted like cardboard. So what sets Nutrient Survival apart?
Well, Jamie, I'm sorry that you had to suffer through all those bad taste experiences, and we're here to change things up for you. Well, I think first off, what sets us apart is our nutrients, and we are nutrient dense, nutrient rich. We have 40 nutrients in every serving, and that's your 14 vitamins, 14 minerals, 9 amino acids that get you to an excellent source of protein. We have omega-3, omega-6 in excellent source, and also fiber. So everything that you need to get through these emergency situations and give you the sound body and mind to power through. Because let's face it, a lot of people prep and they're ready to go, but one thing they don't consider is themselves, right? And you have to have the facilities, your body and your mind together in order to get through these situations. So we really pride ourselves on that, the nutrients and what they do for you to power you in the right way. And then I think the other thing that sets us apart, and you kind of hinted at it, is we really pride ourselves on our taste. I like to call it surprisingly awesome taste, because people don't expect freeze-dried food to taste good at all. But our stuff is, starts with real ingredients, real eggs, real milk, real cheese, real peppers, real potatoes, and we cook it up just like you would at home. And then we put it in a freeze dryer, and it takes the water out and makes it into that dry, very lightweight, long-lasting stuff, as freeze-dried food. And then we pack it away, and it allows you to have something, that's up to 30-year shelf life ready for you. All you do is add water. It doesn't even have to be hot water. It just has to be water. And you reconstitute it, and you basically have the food that, you cooked in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I've got a culinary chef downstairs that invents all of our food. And, he used to work in some of the finest restaurants, and he's the guy making our food.
So give me an idea of the kind of range of foodstuffs that you make right now.
Well, we have about 15 different varieties, and we're working on new ones every day. So I would start with, our entrees, some of the flavors that we have that are very popular. Our Southwestern medley is a Southwest rice and beans type of thing with a nice little kick. We have a triple cheese mac, which is very popular, and kids love that one as well. My personal favorite is the home style scramble, and it's sort of a more of a breakfast skillet type of dish. And then we have some products that are, call it ready to eat, and those would be our bars. We have a peanut butter bar and a honey granola bar, and also some cookies that don't require some reconstitution. That's the chocolate chip cookie and the oatmeal raisin cookie. And we have a couple beverages as well, like our chocolate shake. That's actually one of the most powerfully packed, nutrient dense foods that we have, or meals that we have. It's more of a meal replacement type thing. And things like vitamin milk and vitamin eggs that were coming out to be commodity and basics that people like to have on hand in emergencies as well. So that's a little sampling of the range. And then we've got some beverages that we'd like to provide to people, like our liquid nutrient, and we have an immunity boost drink and that sort of thing. So sort of on the periphery of that, but the core of it is the food.
You touched upon MREs, or military meals ready to eat, for those people who don't understand the acronym. I'm guessing that throughout your years in the Army, 7 years, you said?
Oh, 7 years, yes.
So you ate a fair number of MREs, I would imagine.
Yeah, I've had a few. I've had a few.
Now, in my kind of when I've been dabbling in prepping, I have actually tried a few MREs, and I always wondered that old adage about an army marching on its stomach, because I don't know how armies march on their stomach eating some of that stuff, because that could possibly be some of the worst food I have ever tasted in my entire life.
Yeah, well, you hit it on the head. I mean, that's so funny, but yeah. Well, people, Army, I don't think they're too concerned with do the soldiers love to eat it as much as is it giving them the what they need to get through and complete the mission. And it's funny you talk about MREs. One of the things that is really cool about our product as well is we discovered that the military has studied nutrition and food nutrition for years, and what it takes for optimal human performance. Yeah. If I can use a couple of buzzwords. And what they have, they've gone to specify is nutrient requirements for operational rations, and also this thing called restricted rations. And the restricted rations are the ones that they give the special operations forces, the guys that are deep behind enemy lines and crawling on their belly and all that high speed, low drag stuff. And what they've actually specified is nutrient density per calorie for 20 something nutrients, and not the full 40 that we have, but 20 something nutrients. And our food is actually meets or exceeds that by about 2.5 times for the restricted rations, for the special operations.
Right, okay.
So we call it special operations grade nutrition even, and it's a big part of our go-to-market approach right now. And we're really proud of that. So we deliver the great taste plus that nutrition that, the guys that have been in the toughest situations, the most strenuous and stressful, our special operations, the most elite warriors, that's what they're eating when they're out.
Interesting.
Complete mission.
So we're still in the middle of this ongoing pandemic, and I always like to end these interviews on a bit of a kind of upturn. What is the most valuable thing that you have learned in the last 12 months since this pandemic really hit home for us?
Wow, it's I'll tell you, there's so much, and I admire so many businesses that have hung in there and overcome adversity as they've had to adapt their business and their business model and how they serve consumers and customers. I mean, the ingenuity and the resourcefulness has been amazing to see, and you hear these stories all the time. Our business didn't exist 12 months ago. Right. We were born out of the pandemic, honestly, because the idea of we could do a really good job giving people what they need, nutrient density to get through the situation, as people were just looking for any food that they could possibly get their hands on. The internet exploded with demand for food because people couldn't go out and stores were closed. Yeah. So we were fortunate that we were born out of the pandemic. And what I've learned as a startup is, there's no playbook. You go, you learn, you see what works, you adapt, you change, you pedal down in areas, and you turn off things. And so just this need to be agile to survive. And that's what we're really proud of, that we help people, not in a business standpoint, but people survive, both in terms of getting through that, but also having what they need to not just survive, but to thrive, actually.
I hear you. I just thought of something. Did you happen to leave Campbell's soup with any stocks and shares? Because I bet you those have gone up during the last 12 months.
That's so funny. When I left Campbell's, I sold everything I had.
Oh, okay. Right.
But I will tell you I will tell you they've done a really good job, and they did see a nice boost as a lot of center store shelf stable foods do. If you remember the 2009 recession and
Yes.
everything in the market went down, the only thing that went up that day was Campbell soup stock. So,
I wasn't aware of that. Right. Okay.
So there's definitely something to be said for consumables that people will need to have on hand, through those situations.
Well, Eric, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. I'm looking forward to trying out some of your nutrient survival products at some point in the future. If people are interested in checking out your gear, where should they be going on the web?
Well, they should be going to nutrientsurvival.com.
Okay.
Just as it sounds, nutrientsurvival.com. And we ship everywhere in the U.S. and the 48 and Alaska and Hawaii. And I've got your order ready to go, Jamie. I've got your address and I got the customs paperwork filled out, so it's on its way. And you can try that firsthand. Okay.
Smashing. I'll look forward to that. Eric, thank you so much once again.